Welcome to JustWannaQuilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and, of course, a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. I'm Elizabeth Townsend Guard. I'm a law professor at Tulane University, and I just want to quilt. Today we talked to Claudia Pfeil. She's in Germany. She is just, spectacular. She has award-winning quilts in 3 shows simultaneously right now. She talked to us about how she became an award-winning quilter, and it's surprising. It's really fun and interesting. I hope you like it.
Okay, I'm Claudia Pfeil from Germany.
Awesome. And what's your first memory of someone sewing or quilting in your life?
Oh, decades ago. My first sewing experience, I was, and I'm missing the word already, apprentice. If you are learning to do a job,
right,
what's the name?
Yeah, apprentice. Yes.
Yeah. I learned, I was working in a big magazine, decorating the ladies, for the windows. So I was dressing those dolls.
The mannequins, yeah.
Mannequins, yeah. And my mom visited me and she said, "Hey, I think you will need a sewing machine." And I said, "What? I've never touched a sewing machine." I was about 18, 19 years. I never touched a sewing machine. No, there was not one in our household of my parents. My whole family are bankers. So
interesting.
Yeah, totally interesting. I'm the black sheep. And and my mom came up with the idea that we should share and she would buy and we would share a sewing machine. And I said, okay, great idea. We went shopping for a sewing machine. And my mom never touched it, by the way. And when I got my sewing machine, I went to a craft show, Creativa, it's a name in German. And and I watched one lady doing some applique or piecing. I don't really remember, but I watched her and I asked her finally, "What are you doing there?" And she told me, "I'm doing patchwork." And me, patchwork, Yeah, and she said, "Oh, you cut fabrics into small pieces and then you sew them together." Oh, interesting. And that must have been in 1984 or 85. So, and I asked her, "Do you teach classes?" Yes, in our house, she was giving private lessons. Yeah, and I said, "Okay, I will join you." And then that was my very first sewing experiences. Yeah.
And how did you like it from the beginning, or how was that first experience?
Okay, patchwork or piecing wise, it was quite okay. But I tried, not perfect, by the way, but I tried, and it's a funny story, and no one knows that. So you are getting a special treat. I tried once to sew clothes for me. And I've had in my dreams, that was the time of the musician Mozart. Yeah. And I saw myself in my dreams in a robe like Mozart. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I went shopping and I bought a heavy fabric. I attended a class for sewing clothes. What's the name for that? I don't know, because I'm not really prepared to answer those kind of questions. You caught me. And this teacher showed me this how to cut and how to sew. And long, short story, I went with this blue, really dark blue dress out of my room. I was so proud of me. I bought extra shoes for this dress. I bought a scarf for it. I bought extra stockings for it. I felt so beautiful. I went out of my room dressed like Mozart. And yeah, and I went the hall down to my parents and my fiancé, my former husband, and I saw in their faces, they didn't say any word, but I saw in their faces, I must have looked so ugly. Like a bomb, like a wedding cake or something like that. But their faces were just frozen. Yeah, but they couldn't tell me it doesn't look nice. But I've never worn it. I put it aside. I think my mom has cleaned it up one day. I don't know where it is now. So that was my clothing experience and sewing experience in clothing. I was done with that. So I concentrated onto quilts and piecing and applique more. Yeah.
Well, your stuff is so pretty. I want to understand, and you're definitely, I mean, like we've been talking to all kinds of different people, hobbyists, people who make tools. You're such a professional. You're such an artist. Did you feel like, you would define yourself as a professional artist, quilter person, right? Would you? Right?
My life is my whole life is patchwork. Yeah, I'm in fabrics. I'm in quilting. I'm in sewing. I'm in threads.
Yeah.
My whole life is with that. Yeah.
Right. And
so I'm a professional.
You are a professional. And how quickly do you remember? Like, when did you transition from it being something you like to do to being a professional? How did that happen? And how quickly did that happen?
Nothing was planned. I have to admit, I studied textile design. So that was not planned either. But yeah, maybe my given creativity was so strong, but I didn't know that everyone at the university knew she's a creative person. But I never felt like that. So after my education at the magazine, I forgot the word already. I went to university not knowing what really to study, and they put me into textile design. And my high school was not really good, so I haven't had a chance to choose. Yeah, and I began weaving, I began painting, and my creativity grew from day to day. And it always had something to do with fabrics and threads. And I forgot a little bit about the patchwork or the quilting thing. That came back when my first son was born, because I couldn't work anymore as a textile designer, which was only painting and for furniture and curtains and bed linen, colorful bed linens. I still have some paintings out of this area, out of this time area. And and when my first son Julian was born, by the way, if you are in Houston, you will meet Julian.
Oh, fabulous. That's great.
Yeah, he's my assistant in my classes.
That's great.
I felt bored a little bit, and I cleaned up my drawers. I found some woven stuff. I thought, okay, let's do those woven blocks, which I have woven for my examen. Let's do a quilt out of that instead of keeping that in drawers. And because I haven't had enough thread, I went to the sewing machine shop in Krefeld, my hometown, and they showed me the mat and the cutter and the ruler as a brand new invention from the US. And then I said, oh, that's pretty cool. That's for patchwork, right? Yeah, and they said, yes, you have to try it. And I tried it for my woven blocks piecing things, and I went back really proud to show in this project, which is, if I would look at it today, it looks, okay, technically not perfect, to say it nice. And they were so excited, and they asked me, hey, wouldn't it be a great idea if you would teach here in our classroom patchwork and piecing? And I said, oh, wow, cool idea. Yes, I will do that. I would say it was self-confident face without having any clue. Yeah.
I get that.
Okay.
Well, they always say that teaching makes you an expert. Like if you have to teach it, then you become the expert.
Exactly.
I say all the time.
Exactly. So my students didn't sound like that because I tried, and half an hour before I started teaching, I tried the block myself. So I was learning by doing. And I think this is a sentence, learning by doing, not being afraid, just do it. That is one of my sentences of life.
That's great.
If you are afraid for the mistakes, probably you won't fail, but you won't get any more experience. So just do it and try it.
I like that. I like that.
Thank you. And this is how I started and how I'm doing today as well. So, but I improved my skills, I have to say, yes.
And how did you do that? Was that just experimenting, or did you take classes to become better? Like how did you improve?
Oh, yeah. First off, seeing my own mistakes and thinking about how can I improve. And another thing is when I got my long arm machine, which was a real big change in my life. I took a class with Carol McTavish, and I think that was the only one who taught me kind of skills, and she inspired me. And so, but from then I really started to do my own things by try and error. And the other point which really helped me to improve was not being afraid to send my quilts. And I've sent the first quilt after 6 weeks of having the long arm to the US into a show.
Really? Oh
Yes.
my gosh, you're very brave. You're amazing. Yeah. Okay, so tell me about the role of shows then, because you've just tell us about the role of show and show quilts in your life. That's an important part of what you do. It's
very important because here in Europe, first of all, we don't have those kind of shows. Yeah, not comparable at all. So quilting is way bigger in the US, though we are working on that to get Europe a little bit more influence for us as well. But at those days, it was 2005. Quilting was not really big in Europe. Machine quilting was even less, so not really accepted. Oh, that's machine quilted. Yeah, so I only have had the chance to enter quilts to the shows in the US, and I've done that. And as I said, after 6 weeks, I sent a New York Beauty to MQS, which was I'm calling that my home show. It was Machine Quilter Showcase, located in Kansas at those days. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore, and I'm really missing this show. It was a kind of family meeting. and yeah, and this quilt came back with a little tiny teacher's ribbon. And I was so proud of myself with this little ribbon. And I thought, hey, that is cool. That is inspiration. This is encouragement. And I got back the judges' comments, and I've read them. They were fair. They recognized right away where my little oopsies, big oopsies in those days were. And I thought, oh, I have now an idea where I can get professional help on a piece of paper by sending my quilts to the shows. Yeah, and this is really something it really helped me to improve, getting the judges' comments back and stepping from there. For example, Arabesque, my very first silk quilt, has had a totally ugly binding. So the judges' comments were, improve your binding skills. And the front of the quilt looked really cool and nice and effective, but you should not turn the quilt. The pookies and the tension issues and all those stuff. But those were mentioned in an appropriate way on the judges' comments. So I thought, okay, then I have to work on that. The next quilt has had a better binding. It has had less tension issues. But as I was alone in Europe, I could not improve by taking classes, right? So I had to do it on my own. I've done it the hard way, really the hard way. And with one quilt, I found myself very smart. I've had bad tension issues, and I thought, why shouldn't I use another backing fabric to cover those and quilt it again a little bit with black threads, so black in the bobbin, black on top, so you can't see anything like tension issues. So a false back. On the judges' comments were, you should not use a false back. So I learned again something. But today I improved. Yeah. So my quilts are quite successful.
Quite successful. Tell us about your recent successes with your quilts.
Which quilt?
You've got a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, I have 3 quilts running right now. Yeah.
Tell us about all 3.
Okay. Beauté Symphony has won 2nd place in Paducah, beginning of September or middle of September. Fractal, I got the message last week. Fractal has won an award in Houston at festival, but we don't know yet. First, second, or third, it doesn't matter. To hang in Houston is an honor, and to win an award in Houston is double honor. So I don't really care about which place I've done. It's great to be in Houston. Yeah. And tomorrow, the Northwest Quilting Expo in Portland, Oregon will start, and I didn't publish it yet, but I won 1st place in the art representative category.
So amazing. You're so amazing. So amazing. That's amazing. Now,
Thank you.
When you quilt, do you feel like every quilt is a show quilt, or do you have a mindset that this will be a show quilt? Like,
oh no, this is this kind of quilt is not planned, but is from the first stitch a show quilt. I'm working from the first cut, from the first piece of fabric. It will be a show quilt. So,
tell me a little bit about your process. Is there a lot of planning? Are there multiple versions? Sort of how do you make a show quilt? Like in a broader sense, in the big sense of it. Like,
Okay. I will tell the story with In Full Bloom, which has won the award at Northwest Quilting Expo. It was Sunday. I got a message from a friend from the UK. He went to a garden and sent me a picture. And the picture from this Kew garden, that is the name of this, I have never been there, but he sent me a picture. I felt inspired to do a garden theme. So I went upstairs, grabbed my silks, and started cutting and started sewing blocks, and in a free cutting method. And I have a wall where I'm pinning all the blocks onto it. And I finished a few blocks. I got the vision how I continue. So there is no planning. It's just growing. It's just growing.
It just comes in. It's just like your inspiration. It's your artistic expression. It's just coming out.
And I can't stop. If I have this, like I've said, I saw the picture my friend has sent. I had to go and sew.
Yeah? Now, I'm curious because I do a lot of writing. I find myself sort of so immersed in my writing that like I'm exhausted after I finish. I'm like, I don't really want to stop to eat, or like I want to have the full day. Like I want to keep going even if my body says I need to stop. Do you?
Absolutely.
Is that the way you feel when you're?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my poor boys. My poor boys in the past, when they lived in my house, they are grown up now and they moved out. So I'm totally free. They had to remind me, Mom, what's for dinner, what's for lunch, Yeah. And they had to pick out the silk threads out of their food, seriously, because the silk is everywhere. And then they said, okay, Mom is sewing again. But they survived. They are good boys now, and they survived. And but I totally agree. I can't stop, and it has to be done in the minute. And I'm saying I'm on a cloud. I'm in a different
space. It's like a different means of existing. Now, how many art quilts do you think you make? Like, how long is one taking? Like, that's a really intense space to be working in. How often are you doing that? And how long are these quilts taking?
I normally say I need 1 year to finish from from start to finish, 1 year.
Interesting.
So, but the last one, In Full Bloom, it was kind of explosion, and it needed to come out, and it was only half a year. So I can't say it takes a year. It can be faster. It can, but on the other hand, I have a full-time job as well. Though it is with quilting, it is I own a quilt shop. I do customer quilts, long arm quilting for customers.
Wow.
Yeah, so I still have a full-time job. It is still in quilting, but my art quilts, my show quilts, I'm doing in my free time.
So cool. So what is a shop like your shop is in Germany?
Yeah, in Krefeld, yes. Mm-hmm.
And how are shops similar or different to those in the US?
Oof, the prices of the fabrics, the yard, are much higher, yeah. Calculate double. So if I'm hearing, complaints about the yard of fabric, high quality fabric is about $12 now, I say, hey, that's the price we have to pay in wholesale.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that affect the difference? I was talking to people in Australia, and it seems like it affects the difference of how people shop.
Absolutely.
You're not creating these huge stashes, and you're focused more on the project as opposed to just
absolutely yes. Mm-hmm. Absolutely yes. It's a luxury hobby. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. So every purchase of a fabric is well thought. That I'm a little bit different. I'm buying what I love. So I'm a, if I'm a normal customer and they are seeing me coming, they are happy because I buy everything what I love, but only if I love it.
Yeah. Now, do you,
So
when you're at Quilt Market, obviously you're teaching, you go to, right, Quilt Market versus festival. Do you come from festival or market? And you're teaching there
both
as well. You've got a lot going
market is horrible. Nice. Horrible
on.
nice.
Horribly nice. Now, do you purchase fabric for your store at Market?
Yeah. No. And it's easy to buy. It's difficult to pay later. So my card is burning. Yeah, but it's so good to be at Market. You meet friends. You can chat. Festival is harder because I'm teaching all the time.
Yeah.
But Market is kind of what's new, to meet the people, to meet the artists, to meet the designers. You can even look at the quilts already. Huh?
Right.
So I really like Market, and yeah.
I've only been once. I was there last year. We'll go again. But there's something. It's intimate. There's a quietness to it. It's so pretty. It's like the prettiest place on the planet. There's just so much going on. It's really that's
Yeah, but it's what's the English word? Yeah, you have to keep an eye on it what you are buying, especially if you are traveling with two suitcases. Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Everything is heavy.
Everything is heavy. And are you buying? Do you go to like Sample Spree and other places? Are you buying while you're there for your shop?
Yes.
Yes.
And this is the reason why Julian has to take two suitcases too.
I was wondering, do you make him just take like a little carry-on for his clothes?
Yeah. Honestly, yes.
Funny.
No, it's true.
I so get it. So we lived in London. I taught at London School of Economics for a year when I was a postdoc, and we had a 2-year-old, and so we had like duffel bags. That's all we could bring home after the year, right? Like, so I totally get it. And we were packing, and my husband, he really likes socks. He's like a sock guy, and he had put so many socks in the suitcase, and it was like, dude, like those socks are not coming to the United States. Like, we have such limited space. That made me think of your son. Of like, look, you only get so much room for your clothes because the fabric is taking precedence.
No, but he. Like I've said, he and his brother survived me. Yeah,
right.
So,
I like that. I like that idea of your kids surviving you. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, and they both know exactly that in case mom is doing something with quilting, they just have to step back and agree with whatever I'm saying.
That's so great. Now, do you think that's important for them? I think that kids seeing their moms working that way is really important. Like it's not just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think it's a good thing. Did you feel that way too as a mom, that having your kids see you invested in something and working that way matters?
Yeah, they are totally proud of me. I know that. And they're both supporting me whenever I need in technical questions, or my technical skills are not even there. So they are supporting me. But the funny thing is, when they were small and young, they totally denied to be creative.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they ignored me asking, oh, let's paint a picture or doing something creative. They totally denied. Nowadays, they are both doing a job, not in sewing, not in quilting, but they are doing both a job with creativity.
Really?
Yeah. It came, but it, yeah.
So no bankers. You didn't
no
raise
bankers. They.
You killed that part of the family.
Yeah, my brother is still in a really good position. My father was a bank director. My mom was a banker.
Amazing. Yeah, we have that with lawyers. Everybody in our house, like and my daughter is vowing not to go to law school, so we'll see. Like, I don't know, 15 lawyers or something ridiculous in our family. Ridiculous.
She might be the artist later.
Yes, she is. She's very much an artist at this point, but it made me laugh because she's really like, no, that's not happening to me, Mom. Like, okay.
No. So everyone is really proud, and the kids, my boys, really appreciate what I'm doing. They accept it, and this is a kind of support too. Yeah. They have the eye to watch my progress and being good critics, or how do you say, a person who tells you in a not offensive way what they don't like, what they like. Yeah, so they are really supportive with a critic.
That's very
and
cool.
Really helps me once in a while if I'm desperate. There's always a moment in each quilt where I could throw the whole thing through the closed window. Yeah, so
I like hearing that. And do you ever actually throw things out? Do you just be like,
No.
No, you don't. You push through that.
Yes, you have to be strong. Yeah, be strong. And go on. You can do that. You can fix it. And it's mostly technically. And so what you need is patience to rescue. But this is just a matter of time.
I like that. All right. So the last bit, first of all, I just adore you. I have so much fun chatting with you.
Oh, come on. I hope everyone understands my funny English.
No, you're great. Okay, intellectual property. We've talked before off camera about some issues that arose. What role does copyright and intellectual property play in sort of what you do?
I love to share. So, and I love the social media community to share with. Otherwise, I would sit in my room and talk to myself. So I love to share even with pictures. I know the risk to be copied. And what happened last time is, I think it was not really a copyright issue. This lady who taught, after seeing my pictures, the pictures were with watermark, with my name on it, but they were so impressed that they said, "Oh, let's try that." And she has done it without intention to copy. To copy, but it was about excitement, and so we have to see what they are really doing. Is it out of fun, or is it which? If she would have asked me, I would have said, "Hey, cool, make it, or do it." But name me, give me credit. But on the other hand, there are people who are doing, taking advantage money-wise out of what we are doing.
Those are really different, right? So when we were talking,
that is a huge difference.
I've been doing a lot on copyright. I'm writing, I'm writing a book right now, so I'm focused on the chapter on copyright infringement. And
is it in German?
Oh my gosh, no, because I studied European history, so I had to read 4 languages, four, and I was a British historian. That was ridiculous. So my German is terrible, like terrible. So is my French and Italian and Spanish. Like all of them were awful. But I spent a lot of time trying to learn them. Anyway,
German is quite hard. Yeah,
German is really hard. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. French too. French is hard too.
Italian wasn't too bad. Like I got through Italian. Finally, they were like, "Look, if you can take like an intensive class in Italian, we'll pass you, and you can get on with your life." So that's what I did.
Italian's
really easy. That one's easy.
European people like to talk with hands and feet. That is nice. So you can.
No, Italian's the easiest. But so
back to the question.
Anyway, so when I was looking at what it was an art quilt that you had posted, and they did kind of their inspiration of it. It didn't look like yours, but it did. You could kind of see where it was. And I think what you're saying is so spot on, which is if people are inspired and trying to make yours because that's what they want to do, they just love you so much that they're doing your stuff, and they're not doing it in the same caliber. It's just different, right? It's not that they're competing in shows with you. It's just that they love you so much that they're doing that stuff. That's
Yeah.
really different than
But
like a
it's
company stealing your stuff. You know what I mean?
dangerous. It's dangerous to give this opportunity.
Yeah, tell us why. Yeah, because it's a hard moment for you, and I'm curious.
Yeah.
What parts do you feel are dangerous? Even if you post something and then somebody else starts to be inspired by it, what's the danger in that?
We are not talking about the money taking the professional stealing. Yeah, we are not talking right now about.
No, we're talking about fans, right? Fans.
So fans taking my quilts as an inspiration. First of all, every artist love to inspire somehow, otherwise we would not hang the quilts, we would not share the quilts at a show. So inspiration is good, but the customers or the fans of us should know where is the border, when is it one step too far. Yeah. So this particular lady has made, in my eyes, 2 mistakes. She didn't ask me in advance, and time-wise, it was a bad timing because this quilt in full bloom has not been seen anywhere. Yeah. So, okay, this is, if a fan is, and I just can recommend, if someone is inspired by someone's work so much, please, and we are all humans, please contact them in advance.
That's so interesting. Right.
And then you get the worst thing you can get is a no. Yeah? But most of us artists, I would say, hey, you asked me, then you are getting, not to earn money with it, but for your own peace, fun, because you are inspired. I would say most of the artists would be happy with that, but they need to ask in advance, not later.
Not later, right.
And then there's another group who are taking advantage money-wise. I'm not talking about companies, but I'm talking about students who are teaching the stuff out of classes, which is worse, which is not good. Yeah? Because if they're taking and I have friends who have made the same experience, taking the handouts, taking the class, getting the handouts, and teaching that kind of class with the same designs somewhere else is not good. That is copyright.
That's really interesting. Right.
Yeah?
Because it's we have this, so you see the materials that you're creating is for personal use, not for them
to teach, yes.
Teach.
Yeah.
And are you okay with if you had a pattern that they all bought the pattern and someone was sort of guiding them through the pattern? Do you feel okay with that?
That is a pattern if a pattern is published, they are buying it. I don't care.
You don't care?
That is, no. But taking my class stuff and my class designs is totally different.
That is different, isn't it? And you've had people do that to you? You've had people do that?
Yes.
And what do you do?
Not only to me.
Okay, fabulous. You're awesome. I'm so sorry for the abrupt goodbye, but you're so fantastic. Take care.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So this is Elizabeth Townsend Guard. You've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. We want to hear from you. Join our army, our quilting army. Go to our Facebook page. Suggest people